Hello and thank you for joining us on the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, Northern governors visit Makinde over Shasha crisis as Oyo governor promises justice for all victims, set to inaugurate judicial panel, peace and security committees. Imo North Senatorial District by-election impasse continues as courts of appeal uphold disqualification of Frank Ibezim over alleged certificate forgery. 24 hours after, Supreme Court declared him authentic candidate and winner of the APC primaries, and later on the show, Benga Daniel Omishori defects to APC as El-Rufai, Buni, Abiodun and others storm Daniel's Shagamu home. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Olayinka Oyebeli. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. I meant to say Dr. Olayinka Oyebeli.
Thank you very much.
Some governors visited Governor Seyi Makinde, their Oyo State counterparts, over the recent ethnic clash at Shasha area of Ibadan. The governors who visited Makinde are Atiku Bagudu of Kebbi, Abdullahi Ganduje of Kano, Abubakar Sani Bello of Niger, and Bello Matawale of Zamfara. During the visit, Governor Makinde promised justice for all victims of the violence and inauguration of a judicial panel as well as peace and security committees to trash naughty issues. Babajide, yes, Oyo State. And it seems Governor Makinde is standing up to the occasion and doing everything to douse the tension there. Because I realize that it's not just one location that we have problem in Oyo State. And if the rate at it was going, it started at Ibarakpa, from Ibarakpa, Shasha, and some other places have been mentioned. If it's not nipped in the bud, Oyo State will just break down. There will be a breakdown of law and order in Oyo State.
Well, the good thing is that a general breakdown of law and order is not happening. And we have to commend these governors for the efforts that they are making. We also have to commend political and cultural leaders, especially in northern Nigeria, for the efforts they are making to calm frayed nerves and ensure that innocent people don't just get killed for nothing. Because when these sort of things happen, it's the innocent people who suffer. The situation in which two individuals are quarreling, something that we could easily have resolved. You know, we now had a situation in which it snowballed into an ethnic conflagration. It shouldn't be happening. It's extremely dangerous for us to find ourselves in this kind of situation. And I'm happy that the governors have not left Governor Makinde alone. They've gone there to assist him in solving the problem. Because if this thing degenerates, even their own states could be consumed. So the crisis has the potential to snowball into a real combustion. And I'm happy that these governors have risen to the occasion. I'm particularly impressed with Governor Ganduje. He's playing the role of a leader. And you can see even from his comments, you know that this is a governor who knows what he's doing. You are not going to hear...
He's always very moderate in his comments.
Those rhetorics that suggest that people they want to fight,
ranches.
that people are spoiling for a fight. You can see that you don't get to hear that from that old man. This is a bridge builder who offered his own daughter to somebody from Oyo State.
Oyo State, the former governor of Oyo State.
So he knows the implication of having maybe a clash between residents of Kano and residents of Oyo State. So that's not what we want to have. And I'm happy that Governor Makinde, and this should not be an audio promise. You have said that you are going to rebuild houses destroyed, because many houses were set ablaze. You have said that you are going to provide palliatives for people who lost their wares.
We hold them accountable to that.
Some people, a whole truck of onions destroyed, a truck of tomatoes destroyed. That itself can kill some people because it's their livelihood. It's their livelihood. How do they survive? So government has to move in, because I read Serikin Shasha complaining that the children, that they do not even have what to feed the children. Everyone has gone to his house. You know, they are taking refuge in his place because his place is
now
safe. His place has become an IDP camp. So people, now those people have to be taken care of. This is when government can actually show that it exists, to bring down the pain that people are going through. Government must walk the talk. If you say you are going to rebuild shops and houses destroyed, let that begin to happen. Let people begin to see
Feel
evidence of healing.
Yes.
So that we are one. And by God's grace, this whole tension will calm down, because there are some people who, what they want to see is just for our country to go up in flames.
God forbid.
You know, but God will sort out such people, because this is a country that has to stay united, that has to stay as one. And the enemies of Nigeria's oneness, those who are committed to causing trouble, causing us to rise against one another, they will somehow they will be sorted out by the man upstairs.
Yiga, like Jide, you've also stayed in the north, and you know the implication that if anything should happen here, and there's a kind of counterattack in the north, that it won't go well at all.
In fact, for most of us who grew up in the north or who are born in the north, this is a very, very terrible and trying time. The north that we grew up in, or the Nigeria that we grew up in those days, if there is a misunderstanding between two people, the first person to arrive there will ask you, what exactly is the problem? What was the cause of your fighting? And in whatever talk that you offer, the two of you offer explanation, blames will be apportioned. But now that has taken a leave, even everywhere in the country. Yesterday, I witnessed a very similar thing. I was driving towards Abattoir, and there was this guy pushing his truck. The cart truck they were pushed. He got to a place, there were empty bottles of water, these water bottles, and he offloaded his cart and was trying to pack the bottles. They've thrown them away. It was in the trash can. He was trying to pack the bottles, and this guy just came in from the house and started harassing him. And I felt, in fact, because there was a terrible traffic jam, I've been there inside the car, I felt very uneasy. Because what was happening apparently was that this guy doesn't want this guy to pack this thing. But all you needed to do was to have told him that, look, leave it and go away.
Most of the time, I know those guys you are talking about.
So
just go into your trash can, start
the guy
just
got over excited and he was shouting and kicking the guy. I did like this. I said, God, I pray this thing does not snowball into another problem. Because what has led to this? I think the major problem, one, we have become more intolerant. Two, socioeconomic problems have made everybody to be on edge.
Yes.
What will it have caused this guy? This guy, you wanted to throw this thing away. And the guy was helping you to pack it because he needed to go and sell it or whatever he wanted to do with it.
Recycle.
So why did you begin to, the way he was talking to him, and I was looking around, if there were to be any of the guys' ethnic origin or something,
another thing will have happened. So
This is not even the time for.
this is not the time for it.
Something is
And
wrong with our people.
the
This
thing
not the
is
time.
that we need to look at ourselves as human beings. Look, most of these problems are caused by people who are already down and out. They don't have any. He that is down need fear no fall. That goes the cliche. That if anything happens now, you will think of how do I drive my car out of this place, or how do I carry my certificate out? But these guys, most of them have nothing to lose.
Yes,
And
right
we need real understanding. It is not every man that you see that is bad. That's why I like what Governor Ganduje is doing. He seems to, the governor...
Very liberal.
Exactly. Now, he's
talking
a
about
man
ranches,
who
establishing ranches.
He's a man who think of the future. Because there is no way. My youngest brother is a lawyer. He's still there in the north. Some years back, we asked him, come to the southwest. He said, where will I start? He has established his law firm there.
Yes.
You now ask him to leave that place and come. Where will he start?
Even Babajide, a lot of our viewers, they don't seem to agree with you, as in terms of trying to preach stability. Yesterday, when we were having the repeat version of the program, I was checking the Facebook Live and they were saying, no, that a situation whereby a particular ethnic group believe that they can dominate everything, that it is time to go, it is time to, you see them.
It's not that easy.
Champions, ethnic champions.
No, there are so many.
They are dominating us. No, since 1960, this particular tribe has been, they've been dominating. They don't want to just listen to, that together.
You know, I was speaking with a friend of mine, Aliu Yakase in Kano, because an apparent idiot posted something on Facebook that people had begun fighting in Kano. So I called him. Where are you?
Is it true?
Where are you? He said, I just returned from Sabungeri. Sabungeri
Which is
the last place that an Hausa Fulani man will want to be.
Yeah.
Even if it's just tension that is brewing. So it's a place where I worked for 7 years. I started calling other people. And they said nothing like that. No tension. The Kano has changed. Kano is increasingly more cosmopolitan. Kano is becoming the pride even of the north. The network of roads, the underpass, the beauty.
The development.
People want to go there. And the people too are ready to receive you.
They are not ready in any religious conflict, any ethnic, whatever.
They don't call them Tumbi-Giwa for nothing.
Yeah. You have so many things from the belly of an elephant.
They are ready to receive
yes.
people. And
there's a place I went to in Kano, they call that place No Man's Land.
Okay, it's part of Sabongeri.
Yeah.
The outskirts of Sabongeri.
Yes.
So everyone, you see, people work in a place and they're happy to be there. Let me tell you, promise some people all the money in the world that they should leave Kano, they will not leave.
So what are we saying?
They are enjoying the place.
Yeah.
I know a lot of my colleagues who are transferred. This is not fiction. Just that we don't want to mention their name. They were transferred to Lagos from Kano. They refused to go. They look for job. They got another place.
Yes.
They got another media house and they remain in Kano.
Yes.
So a lot of our people have never been to the north. They stay in Lagos, badmouth people over there. The average northerner does not care about some of the things that people say about them. And you cannot tar people with the same brush. If there are bandits, if there are criminals of northern extraction, it does not mean that you should begin to see everybody every north as being like that. Because if anyone does that to you,
you like it,
or to your ethnic stock,
yes,
you will not like it. That is what people really do not like. But it's a good thing, and it's a thing of joy that up to this time, there is calm in the north.
Yes.
The outlook of the north is changing.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was telling me, he said, some of the arguments that we are reading about on social media, that the average man on Kano is interested in his business. Pushing his business, is oblivious of some of the hate remarks that people are making. But at the same time, our governments have a responsibility to ensure that we have peace. The governors, what they are doing, they have done earlier.
Yes.
We will not
But thank
have
God
had this problem.
The move is
Yes,
yielding
all of
fruits.
them now are saying nobody wants war because it could consume you yourself.
Of course.
Yes. So
Oh.
what are we going to gain? What are we going to gain? Brothers turning against brother. There's no need for it at all. There's no need. We are one nation. It has pleased God to bring us together as one, and we shall remain one, despite the machinations of the enemies of the Nigerian state.
Divided we fall. All right. There is uneasy calm in the Imo State chapter of the All Progressive Congress, APC, after the Court of Appeal in Abuja upheld the disqualification of Chuwuma Frank Ibezim as the party's candidate in the last Imo North senatorial district by-election. This came barely 24 hours after the Supreme Court declared him the authentic candidate and winner of the APC primaries in the case of alleged certificate forgery. Now, who is APC candidate for Imo North? Inka?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't want to dabble into what I will not have the power to quote constitution and all that. But from the layman's point of view,
Okay.
the Supreme Court judgment supersedes all judgment. So whether the appeal court says Chukwuma is the right candidate or not, that does not hold water. And unless lawyers will now tell us that the Supreme Court's judgment, which affirmed him as the candidate, is contrary to what the appeal court has said. But as far as I know, the Supreme Court is the last court of law that can pronounce on any matter. So if the Supreme Court has made a pronouncement, what the bar, the National Nigeria Judicial Council needs to do is, I don't know, is it that some of these judges, do they have what they call ongoing education, or from time to time they should
Continuing
training from time to time, so that they don't continue to give conflicting judgments. If an appeal court can give a different judgment from the Supreme Court judgment, how do we interpret it?
No, they're saying
Okay, Babajide,
the issue is...
I want you to take us, it has gone through, let me put it as maybe the technical side. I want you to just break it down. What happened? What is happening in Imo State?
The truth is, the Supreme Court ruled on who should be the authentic candidate of the party.
Okay.
Who should be the
Authentic candidate of the party.
Okay.
Now, Frank Ibezim is the candidate of the governor, Hope Uzodinma. And he had been having this running battle with Senator Ifeanyi Ararume. Ararume will win in court. This person will go back to another court. Another court will give Ibezim judgment.
The judgment.
On the eve of the election, this judgment from courts of concurrent jurisdiction effectively ensured that APC had no candidate in the December 5 election.
Okay.
They had no candidate. PC went into that contest without a candidate. But they still...
just the party.
Yes, but they still polled 36,801 to PDP's 31,903.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not surprised. We've seen people in detention win election in our country.
Yes.
You know, so the people were voting for party. I was not there to see the conduct of the election, but this was what happened. APC had no candidate. By the INEC guideline for the election, they had no candidate for the election. But the party still polled 36,801 to PDP's 31,903.
Okay.
Now, the issue before the Supreme Court was, did he get fair hearing? Was it right to have excluded him from the primaries? Remember, an earlier court ruled that Frank Ibezim was not part of the primaries.
Yes.
And because on the basis of that, affirmed that Ararume was the candidate of the party.
Okay.
But the Supreme Court upheld the argument of the lower court that he should have been joined, that Ibezim should have been joined in the suit, and that he was unlawfully excluded. Supreme Court affirmed that Ibezim was the candidate of the party. Now, 24 hours after Supreme Court gave that judgment, the appeal court affirmed that he did not have, that he forged his documents, he forged his papers. You know, there are different matters now.
Yes.
I'm confident that even this second matter will still get to Supreme Court. You know, it will still, the issue of
certificate.
Is a certificate. So the appeal court argument is that Ibezim, Frank Ibezim, who has now been declared as the candidate of the APC, forged his papers. Now, what is left is for the two parties to return to court, because the Supreme Court will eventually now have to decide.
Okay, let me ask you again. This will take me back to what Yinka Oyebile said earlier, that there's no how we can be running it like this, that we will need like a better coordination within our courts.
No, there are different matters. That's what I'm saying. Listen to me. Different matters. If someone takes the matter that the Supreme Court ruled on was the matter of primaries.
Okay.
Primaries. This is a matter of eligibility. The matter was on who should have been the candidate of the party. That's what Supreme Court ruled on. This other matter is on certificates. That is, certificates were forged. That was not the issue before the Supreme Court when they gave that judgment. You get the point that I'm making. So if there are two different matters,
yes,
you know, you cannot then say, oh, they had heard with, because the ruling was on a different matter.
Okay.
So, and if you won in Supreme Court, on the issue of who was supposed to be the candidate that won the primaries, and later on they discovered that it's forged documents, and they file a matter, you then must defend yourself, defend your new status, that yes, I'm the candidate of the party, I did not use forged documents. So those are two different matters. So the second matter now will still eventually get to the Supreme Court, which at that point, the INEC may now be forced to declare the person who came second, that's the candidate of the PDP, the winner of the election. Because I've always said that that the and it's because they couldn't decide on who indeed won the primaries. There were two factions. When you have two factions in a party, this sort of thing will happen.
Talking about the internal democracy within the party, and this has affected APC a lot. It's a recurring decimal when you see what happened. I don't know, I will not put River State, that they will just go to courts, pre-primary case, you have post-primary election cases here and there, and at the end of the day, they will drag it to the extent that now a party is having...
It happened also in Zamfara.
The party is having the ticket now, not even the ticket. The party has the the seats now.
Yes.
But there's no candidate.
You see, is the same thing happened in Zamfara. And it is surprising that the cliche that those who learn from history, who don't learn from history, are bound to repeat it. This has been a recurring decimal in the APC. I wonder why they have not been able to sit down as a party to say that, look, this problem that we are always having, how do we resolve it? You have 2 or 3 contending parties, contending forces in the same party. None of them can sit down and say that, look, for the greater benefits of the party, let us go this way. We have seen that, we saw that in the Second Republic. In Oyo State, it was not Chief Bola, the late Chief Bola that Chief Obafemi Awolowo wanted to be the governorship candidate. In Lagos State, I think it was the same thing. It was not the late Lateef Jakande that the Baba Awolowo wanted. But when they threw it open that, okay, let's have primaries, and they had the primaries, those 2 candidates won. Even as the leader of the party, who has every right as the presidential candidate, as the leader of the party and everything,
To upturn.
he had to agree. So why is it that our latter day politicians don't want to learn from this kind of thing? Look, politics is a give and take game. You win today, I lose today. You win tomorrow, I lose tomorrow. That is the way it should be. And the way they are going, if you look at all the boil up to all this, it is always the same thing. One interested party feels that, no, we are the sole owner of the party.
Across the 6 local governments of the states and the 64 wards, the 2 factions fielded candidates. Now, 24 hours to the election. 24 hours to the election. One of the parties got Ararume disqualified. So in the end, they didn't have a candidate for that election. By INEC guidelines, they had no candidate, but people still voted for the APC based on the results that we have. Now, the judgment of the Supreme Court was based on the fact that even in the lower court, Ibezim should have been joined in the matter. So the apex court said it was wrong of the lower court
not to have.
Yes, that Ibezim should have been joined. He then ruled in his favor. 24 hours after the apex court ruled in his favor that he was the candidate of the party, then the appeal court ruled that he forged his papers. It upheld the argument of the lower court that he forged his papers. Now, the question that I want to ask, there's always a screening committee before any election.
Exactly.
Yes. Senator Ben Uwajumogu, the late Senator Ben Uwajumogu, died on December 18, 2019. 1 whole year. 1 whole year, a party couldn't sort itself out and pick a candidate that will be unanimously agreed upon. 1 year, because the election was held in December of 2020. 1 year after the man died. You see some of the issues that we complain about. How did we come...
division within the ranks.
Yes, how did they come to do 2 factions conducting primaries in the 6 local governments of the states? 2 factions. What will happen if candidates emerge from...
The APC had this kind of crisis in Imo State.
This is the most ridiculous of all, because now that the Supreme Court has affirmed that, you are Arume, we've struck out your matter. You are not the candidate of the party. It is Frank Ibezim that is the candidate of the party. 24 hours later. You know, it's so similar to what happened in Bayelsa. When we were at a point when we thought, APC had it sewn up. Then that matter came up. It was decided. So 24 hours after Supreme Court said, finally, Ibezim, Frank Ibezim, you are the candidate of the party, which means that the INEC should go ahead and give him the certificate of return. Then on a different matter, which is the issue of certificate. Didn't they screen his certificates
was not disqualified
on the basis of certificate again?
Automatically, the PDP will be looking behind.
Of course, they are already pushing. They are already pushing that look. That what's INEC waiting for? That they should give the man certificate of return. That's what they are saying.
We'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out. Please stay with us. It's your favorite program on TV, Journalist Hangout, from the best TV station of the year, TVC News. Now, Yinka, moving forward, APC must do something about their internal conflict, resolution, crisis resolution mechanism. One. Number two, APC seemed anytime you have this kind of case in courts, they seem to be at the losing end. Look at what happened to David Lyon.
Well, the best way to resolve this is to have a very good crisis resolution team. Either before it happens or immediately it happens, you have to look for how to make, in politics, contestation for space and offices are normal. In fact, that is the essence of politics. But when you have a party that finds it difficult to resolve such matters, this was what led to their loss in Zamfara. The same thing in Bayelsa and other places. So, and even surprised that even with all the power at the federal level that they have, is it that people who have ideas on how to resolve conflict are never given the opportunity to do so? Or is it that rabid lust for power that makes them to lose their sense of fairness to each other?
It's covered by interests.
Exactly.
Different interests, high-level interests.
So what exactly?
From the presidency down to the governor, down to there will be. I'm sure that Babajide, if you look at this, I'm sure that the interest involved,
most times,
most
selfish
likely
interest.
will set, yes, selfish interest.
The parties should be able to thoroughly screen their candidates. I remember what happened in Kogi. It was a mistake that former chief of naval staff made. Just a mistake in his date of birth.
Yes.
And he was screened out for the APC.
Yes.
Yes, I remember.
It was a mistake in his date of birth or something. And they screened him out because it will work against you in future if they don't do something. Now, since December 4, to show you how they ended up, I'm trying to explain to the viewers how they ended up not having a candidate in that election. It was on December 4 that Justice Echo of the Federal High Court disqualified Frank Ibezim on the argument that the documents that if he made false declaration, of his documents that he presented to INEC. Then, 24 hours to the same election, the appeal court sitting in Owerri disqualified Senator Ararume. So effectively, both candidates could not stand for election. Now, it is the judgment of the Federal High Court by Justice Inyang Ekwo that the appeal court led by Abubakar Yahya upheld that Frank Ibezim presented false document and made false declaration to INEC when he submitted his document. So now, the PDP candidate Emmanuel Okewulono, I don't know how it's pronounced, Okewulono, is waiting on the wings
to benefit
from another potential banana peel by the APC. The matter now has gone past the appeal court. So it's the Supreme Court that is
That will
left.
do it.
If the Supreme Court agrees with the argument of the lower courts that Frank Ibezim provided false information about his wife certificate, wherein the judge held that the names on the document were not only different but irreconcilable, then PDP will be warming up to benefit once again from another carelessness on the part of
the All Progressive
APC.
Congress.
But the matter is in court. We
We'll
will not preempt the court. We'll wait for the courts to
end of the day,
take their decision.
Okay. Finally, the defection fever that characterizes election season in Nigeria is gradually spreading, and the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC) is cashing on. Now, in the latest of politicians who jumped ship, former governor of Ogun State, Otunba Gbenga Daniel, and former Osun State governorship candidate Iyola Omishore have pitched their tent with the APC. To make show of the big catch, Governor Nasir El-Rufai, Mai Malabuni, Dapo Abiodun, and others stormed Shagamu residents of Daniel to welcome him to the APC. This is big. Don't forget, Iyola Omishore was the deputy governor under Bolage.
Yes. Yeah. Doubt about
The
it.
deputy governor under Bisi Akande. Bisi Akande.
Yes.
Deputy governor under Bisi
Bisi Akande,
Akande,
yes.
the AD. So he used to be the progressive side before. Now, looking at Osun State, he helped them in the last election. During the last election, when the thing went down to the wires, he helped out. Yes, he worked for APC. And Otunba Gbenga and Daniel too worked for APC, Dapo Abiodun, in the last election.
Yes.
As at that time,
It's payback time for both men. You know, let's start with Daniel. Daniel is Otunba Gbenga Daniel is particularly strong in Ogun East. That is the Shagamu area, Remo, that area. Yes, he's particularly strong in that area. And interestingly, Ladi Adebutu and the incumbent governor, this governor now, Prince Dapo Abiodun, come from the same hometown. So in order to overwhelm Ladi Adebutu in Ogun East, where he has always been strong, and PDP always wins in that area, Prince Dapo Abiodun had to enlist the support of Gbenga Daniel. With the support of Gbenga Daniel and the tacit support of Buruji Kashamu, the late Buruji Kashamu, whom I learned Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu reached out to, and of course the influence of the VP, you know, who is also from that area. They were able to win the election. And one of the first things that the governor of Ogun State did was to allow Daniel have access to his multi-billion naira hotel. That's the conference hotel. It's probably the most beautiful hotel in Abeokuta now, one of the finest in the southwest.
What happened to it before?
Throughout Amosun's time as governor, he did not allow them to use it.
Operate it.
So he oppressed his predecessor. They did not use, the hotel was under lock. They were close to finishing it, but he did not allow them to gain access to it and all that. So using state power. But one of the first things that Dapo did was to let him have access to it. Not only that, he got officials, people visiting it, official visitors of the state are accommodated there. So Daniel must have felt that, this person has been good to me, you know, I need to go and quickly join this party officially. So Daniel has now officially joined the party with his supporters.
Not forgetting that Daniel was at one point in time the
Articles-
director
Yeah. But that's the
Well,
nature of politics
that's-
in Nigeria. If you like preach to them till tomorrow, they will not listen. Politics is about interest. It's an interest-driven game. And Bengadani has shown once again, though he will tell us that he's no longer interested in partisan politics, but that one is
That's
not true.
his last statement, that he's
That was-
retiring from
yeah,
politics.
Yes,
Yes.
but we know that that is not true. It's difficult for a politician to resign from politics. It's just like telling a musician to resign. Sonny Ade has been asked many times. He said, no, a musician never resigns.
Yeah.
Never quits music. So this is the thing. So that's the area where Daniel is strong and will be useful to them, because Adebutu will still contest
Against
in the next election.
Yeah.
Now, moving quickly to Omishore, since 1999, Omishore has never failed to deliver
Ife.
Ife, yeah.
There are 4 local governments in Ife, and they are densely populated. So Ife is strategic. Any party that it goes to will win. In 1999, it was in AD. Ife won in the governorship election there. In 2003, it was in PDP. They won Ife as well.
Yeah.
Then he also contested from prison, and PDP won the governorship in Ife land. In 2007, it was in PDP.
They won.
Ife also, PDP also won Ife. In 2014, he ran for governorship with Aregbe Shola. He won in Ife land and polled 292,000 votes
I remember the election.
across the state. Rauf Aregbe Shola polled 394,000. That's to tell you that he has support across the state.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the last election, Oyetola won by just about 500 votes or so, or a bit less than that, which means that somebody who can poll 292,000 in an election against Aregbe Shola, as strong as he is, you know that he brings so much value to that ticket. In 2018, he defected to the relatively unknown SDP.
SDP,
And
yeah.
he polled 128,000 votes. Again, he delivered
His
Ife.
that's
constituency.
Ife. The 4 local governments and Modakeke as well, he delivered. So with him now joining that party and bringing his very strong allies, people like Yemi Farombi, Remi Olowu, SDG of NEMA, Jelili Adesina, former Minister of Police Affairs, Bashir Awoturebo, former Minister of Water Resources. Everyone knows that 2023, the APC is positioning itself strongly. This is one of the things that May Malabuni is doing all over the place. And that was why I said it to our friend the other day. I said, you people need to go and beg May Malabuni. Because when he sleeps and wakes up, he's thinking of how to poach a big shot. The PDP were thinking that Omishore will come back home. But as we have seen now, that dream has evaporated, because he's gone to
Register.
yes, and all those his supporters, they moved with
They
him.
went with him.
They moved with him. So this is the thing. It's 2023 that these guys are preparing for and making themselves really strong. Because wherever he goes, I can tell you, between the 2 major parties, wherever Omishore goes, that's the party that will win the election.
Now, looking at the influence of Otumba Gbenga Daniel after he governed that state for 8 years, and a lot of people felt that it was quiet under Ibikuli Amosu, and I listened to one of his interviews, and he said he was so much persecuted by Amosu that he couldn't do anything. They couldn't, for 8 years. As it was
For me, the way I look at this is that for most of their supporters and appointed aides, this is a lesson. As an individual, I'm not in any way excited if any politician defects to another party. If you look at it today, you can count at your fingertips which of the politicians are in APC today that have not been in PDP, or that have not been in PDP, or that
just
have not
have
been.
few since
So
1999.
you can count from the tip of your fingers how many of them. Exactly.
Lamido has never left the PDP.
Exactly. So now the question now is, what
Something you talk about Bola Tinubu, he has never left
exactly
the party that
changed.
yes.
The party changed.
The party can
From
change,
AD
but yes, but
But
he
he's
has
the
never
only
left.
one that I know.
Exactly. So you now look at it. what exactly are these people telling us? It is, first of all, as we have always emphasized on this program, politics is a game of interest. And those who follow them, who swear by whatever they believe in, that no, this is what happens. For me, a look at all this shows me that there is nothing in this politics that they are all playing. They are all looking for, it's a bread and butter business to them. Yes. If someone who had been Director General of a presidential campaign can leave that party today, tomorrow anything can happen.
There's nothing new.
There's nothing new. So for people who are their supporters, who continue to fight and kill themselves over these people, this is a clear lesson. Because when you are working for a politician, you are on the line. Look at how many people have, one way or the other, sustained injuries, have been killed in political clashes between or among all those political rivals. What are they going to say today? In Nigeria, our politics is driven by bread and butter, not anything that has to do with policy.
Babajide, these actions that have been seen, alignment, realignment ahead of 2023, it's as if while APC and PDP, the both parties, what they're consolidating, it's like signing the death sentence of other smaller political parties. As in the equation, they are nowhere to be found, and nothing, you can't hear anything from the likes of SDP. Instead of the only thing you hear is that their presidential candidate has gone back to where he's coming from.
Is that party still existing?
Even when they win election,
they defect.
They eventually defect. Look at the new king of Ondo politics, Makinde, the one they call Shasha. He won the election into the House of Reps.
Oh, the one that Idori.
Yes, he's back. He's now in. Is it Idori? Or is
SDP, House of Reps.
Yes, he has now gone to the APC.
He was the one that Kayode Akimade contested with.
Yeah, you see now.
Now been contested against.
So he's now gone to the APC. Oh. You know, he worked. He delivered Ondo area, Ondo zone. He delivered it to Governor Akeredolu in the last election. I said it when I was predicting that he was the new poster boy of politics in Ondo Kingdom, and that no one can defeat him in Ondo currently. So he delivered that place to the governor, and he has now defected to the APC.
Really?
Yes, that is the thing. So even when they use the smaller parties as stepping stone, sometimes they deny them tickets in the big parties.
We don't know where the Senator Ifeanyi Uba is
Youth
now.
Party.
He's still in his YPP.
He's still there, but
still with his YPP.
Yeah.
He's in the Senate under YPP. But he could end up in APC, he could end up in PDP. Those are just what the Yorubas would call ategun. Just yes, you know, all those parties are like stopgap arrangement for these people. Once they win, you deny them tickets. Once they are able to win, you deny them tickets in the big party. They go to a small party to show that they are popular. You know, like the PRP won some elections in the north.
Yes.
You know, because there's voters who vote for them.
Yeah.
Now, after a while, they go defect.
Yes.
Look at the guy who defeated the former chairman of House of Reps Committee on Finance, our friend from Kano, our friend from Bebeji in Kano.
Okay.
The guy who defeated him in the House of Reps by-election. He has joined the APC. Yes.
What?
So that is the thing. Abdul Momini.
Yeah.
The guy who defeated him, he has joined the APC. People predicted that PDP man will end up defecting to the APC, and he has defected. He has gone.
It's just a game to them.
He has gone to meet Ganduje and co.
It's just a game to them, and those who who fight and die for them, well,
They're on their own.
I think people like Oyetola too should be commended for playing the game
Yeah.
Rightly.
because he had begun to
identify,
to patronize
Yes,
Omishore.
yes.
So you know that ultimately Omishore will
Omishore
end up
will,
going in
yeah.
this direction. So he's consolidating, preparing himself strongly for the.
No, but even Omishore has always
2022
belonged
election.
to
Yes,
the progressive forces. It's
Ola,
just
thank you so much.
disagreement.
Olayinka Oyebile, PhD.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Olayinka Oyebile.
Thank you very
so
much.
much. And the maestro himself,
Thank
BQ.
you. Thank you.
All right. That's all on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. And you can watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/TBC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. See you tomorrow. God bless.